All right, there are some high-profile hearings on Capitol Hill today. Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is testifying right now before a House committee addressing his department's health policy and budgetary needs. And also today, leaders of key divisions in the Department of Homeland Security face lawmakers, heads of ICE, Customs and Border Protection, TSA and FEMA. They are testifying as parts of the department remain shut down, and that's because Congress still hasn't passed a funding deal. CBS News congressional correspondent Nikole Killion is live on Capitol Hill. So, Nikole, what is the latest on getting DHS fully funded?
Yeah, well, I wish I had some imminent updates, but it is still a work in progress here on Capitol Hill. What we do know, though, is that the heads of many of the impacted agencies are here on Capitol Hill today, including the head of ICE, the head of Border Patrol, and in a separate hearing, the head of TSA, the head of FEMA, Coast Guard, Secret Service. And universally, they are all telling Congress to give them money, approve funding to fully fund the Department of Homeland Security. Interestingly, the head of ICE did point out that even though, yes, a lot of the funding they're getting is through the president's so-called big, beautiful bill, that there are still many key divisions within ICE that has been unfunded, and that is impacting their work, particularly when it comes to investigations. For instance, the head of TSA also pointing out to lawmakers today in her opening statement that, they've had somewhere in the neighborhood of $1 billion worth of delayed payments because of these shutdowns. Not just this, but of course, the last one we saw last fall. So it is really having an impact and strain on these agencies, and so that's why they are encouraging members to approve funding. That being said, we know the House and Senate are still kind of on different pages here in terms of a funding package, besides acknowledging that they will try to fund part of the agency normally through standard appropriations, but split off immigration enforcement like ICE and Border Patrol and try to fund that through a party line bill, a Republican party line bill instead. But again, that legislative text has yet to emerge.
And Nikole, we've also heard from Health Secretary RFK Jr. today. What's stood out to you in that hearing so far?
Yeah, well, obviously, these are more kind of routine hearings, if you will, and I would point out that the secretary will be up here a number of times on Capitol Hill. In fact, he's appearing in back-to-back hearings today. He'll be appearing at another one in the House tomorrow, another one in the Senate next week. Of course, this is the first time we have seen or heard from him since a very contentious hearing last fall that really devolved into some pretty tense exchanges over vaccines. That was not the thrust of the secretary's testimony this morning, although some lawmakers did again bring up this issue of vaccine and vaccine policy with the secretary. He, of course, though, trying to stay on message, trying to tout the gains that he believes the agency is making with respect to nutrition and revising dietary guidelines and targeting issues like waste, fraud, and abuse within the agency and various federal programs. So it's been a bit of a back and forth, maybe not as contentious as what we saw last year, but again, this is the first of many hearings to come.
And I want to ask about this because just days after the resignations of Eric Swalwell and Tony Gonzalez, we understand there is a call within Congress for an investigation into an unnamed senator. What details do we have about that?
Yeah, that's right. Well, look, Congresswoman Anna Paulina Luna of Florida, who was one of the lawmakers who pushed a potential expulsion resolution against Congressman Swalwell, the Democrat of California, who's been accused of sexual assault, even though he has denied those claims. But it ultimately, that threat of expulsion from Congresswoman Luna ultimately led to him stepping down. And so now Congresswoman Luna says that she wants leader John Thune, the Senate Majority Leader, to look into allegations against a senator. She did not name who that senator is. I asked Leader Thune if he knows who that senator is, and he said that he doesn't know, but that the matter has been referred to the Senate Ethics Committee. He reiterated he doesn't know the particulars of this, but that the Senate Ethics Panel is really the right committee of jurisdiction to handle a claim like this. So we will continue to keep you posted as we learn more about these potential allegations.
Yeah, we know you will, Nikole. Thank you so much for your time today. We appreciate it.